John Obi Mikel Podcast, brought to you by, of course, Bet Winner. It's great to be back. It's the boss man. It is John Obi Mikel, myself, Chris McHardy, and John. We continue along this path, and it's a boxing promoter who features on this edition. A man that an awful lot of people will know well, and a little secret. You're a big boxing fan, aren't you?
Big boxing fan I am. Yeah. I mean, a guy who doesn't need any introduction, I think, obviously. The guy who makes, who brings together all these massive fights that, that we all love to watch, that we all get to enjoy. A man who's been in the business for a very long time. Obviously trying to take over from his dad. His dad been in the business and now he's the guy. So yeah, it's good that, we're changing up things like we said from the start of season 2. It's not just football. Oh. We're trying to diversify the whole pod and make sure that we bring the best, people from different sort of, sports. So, he's the man, he's the guy, the one and only. Yeah.
Eddie Hearn.
Eddie Hearn, yeah.
Matchroom CEO, and a man that I'll let everyone into a little secret. We caught up with Eddie at Soccer Aid.
Yeah.
He's very keen to see you in a boxing ring, John.
He definitely wants to see me in the boxing ring.
He wants to go big in Nigeria.
Yeah, he wants to go big in Nigeria. So, yeah, I told him, listen, I'm ready, man. I'm ready to throw this uppercut, you know what I mean? So, bring it on. Hopefully, we can have that chat. But no, he's doing an amazing job. The guy is on a roll. He's enjoying what he's doing. And, and he's a massive football fan as well, I think, he's somebody who loves watching football. He loves putting his hands in different sports and trying to, do things right. But, he's been in the boxing business now for a while, and he's the guy he's the main man, let's put it that way.
He absolutely is. He's the man that looks after Anthony Joshua, as well as a whole host of other fighters. Of course, he's very involved in this part of the world. We're, of course, recording this podcast in Dubai.
Yeah.
He's had fights in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
He's now with His Excellency Turki Alalshikh.
In Saudi Arabia. Yeah.
He's making a heck
It's
of
not
a lot of money.
It's not a bad place.
It's not a bad place to print
exactly.
money.
He's getting, his pocket is getting filled up. So yeah, but no, but he's doing what what Saudi wants, what the kingdom wants, in terms of promoting the kingdom, in terms of bringing the best events, in this region, in Saudi. And he's the man, he's the guy. He's been delivering all this while. He's been, bringing those big fights, Anthony Joshua, Tyson Fury, Usyk. Everybody wants to fight now in Saudi. And it's because of Eddie Hearn. And he's the guy who they trust. I think there's a trust there between him and Turkey as well, His Excellency. They call him. I think there's a trust there. And he's making those fights happen.
Growing up, John, who was the fighter that you loved the most? Yeah, I mean, growing up for me, it was Mike Tyson.
Yeah.
He just obliterated for a spell anyone that they put in front of Mike Tyson. And I learned the other day as well, you will not believe this, in the day and age where fighters are fighting maybe twice a year.
Yeah.
1986, the year of my birth.
Loads of fights.
How many fights do you think Mike Tyson had in one single year? Ooh. Hazard a guess, 12 months in a year, 13.
13
fights, John, in a year.
13?
More fights than there are months in the calendar. That blew my mind. 1986, there was 1 month Mike Tyson fought twice in 1 month. Ooh. I mean, that just blew my mind.
That is crazy.
Whereas today, and Eddie, and we're going to get into this interview, Eddie talks about...
It comes on again and now where we, footballers talk about playing too much game as well.
Exactly.
It brings it home to him, isn't it?
It went the other way back in the day.
Yeah, back in the day,
now,
exactly.
These prize fighters, I don't want to say stage managing their careers, John, but they want to go where the money is.
Exactly. They want to go where the money is. And also, they manage who they fight as well. You know what I mean? I was listening to something in the radio the other day, and they were talking about, I think it was Van der Holyfield.
You're listening to me.
Van der Holyfield was saying, listen, back then when we were fighting, I will fight the best. Yes. I will fight anybody. I will fight the best. Even if I'm the world champion, I will still fight the best. I think right now, when you look at the fighters, they pick and choose who they fight, don't they? They don't want to fight the best guys. They want to keep the winning streak going. Back then, they never, Mike Tyson and Van der Holyfield, they never did that. No. And for me, Mike Tyson was the guy growing up. Wow. I remember one time I waited, I think the fight was around 12:30, 1 a.m. Nigerian time. So I stayed up. I was like, no, I'm not going to fall asleep. You know, my eyes were going. I'm like, no, I'm not going to fall asleep. I was a kid. And then, you know, fight starts. Bang.
It was over.
First round. Gone. Gone. I think it was 10 seconds or 20 seconds. Bang. That's it. Fight over. I was like, fuck me. I've waited so the whole night to watch this. And it was gone in what, 20 seconds? But that's how good they were. That's how good Mike Tyson was. And, you know, you don't get to see that anymore right now. But no, but we're still watching some great fights. I kind of like what Usyk is doing, you know, coming up from is it light heavyweight, and then going up there, cruiserweight, and now he's smashing the whole guy, smashing the whole heavyweights. You know, that for me, that's fucking amazing what he's doing. And the good thing is he's still fighting the best guys. He's smashing all of them. You know what I mean? He's taking all of them on. And, you know, he's beating Joshua twice, and now he's going to fight Tyson Fury twice. And it just shows that he's there to compete. He's there to fight the best. And that's something I love from Usyk.
Stepping outside of his comfort zone as well. He's come up in weight. He beat Tyson, the rematch, December 21st, back in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia as well. We're excited for that. But
I need to see Turkey. I need to see the rematch between Pivol and you see that.
And Betriev.
Yeah.
No doubt.
No doubt about that. I need to see the rematch of that because I think Pivol won that fight for me.
I agree.
I think Pivol won that fight for me. It wasn't much, but I think he just clinched it. So for me,
I'm with you.
Every boxing fan, we all wants to see the rematch.
And of course, Dimitri Bivol is a fighter of our special guest.
Exactly.
It's Eddie Hearn. So let's get into this. We caught up with Eddie. An awful lot on the agenda to discuss. And of course, you as an entrepreneur, John, you've got many fingers in pies as well.
Trying.
You must look up to someone like Eddie because
yes.
Eddie just carries himself. He's a great orator.
Yeah.
He could sell ice to
He can sell you anything.
Inuits.
And you buy it straight away.
I know I would. He is literally that kind of guy.
He's the kind of guy, he's a kind of entrepreneur guy you look up to. He's somebody that, you know, he does things right, does things well, carries himself really well, speaks very well, very, very good sense of humor, very, very funny guy as well. So for me, somebody that, you know, that I look at him every time I see him, I look at him, I'm like, this guy carries himself well, is somebody that I would like to do business with. You know what I mean? I would like to get into business with because he does things right. And the boxing business is what he does, and he's making a fucking
fortune
for me.
So, he really is. He's not much of a footballer by his own admission.
He's shit.
I think he says it himself. So here is an exclusive interview with the Matchroom CEO himself. It is the one and only Eddie Hearn.
BetWinner is your reliable partner in the world of sports betting.
It's the Obi One Podcast made possible by BetWinner. Eddie Hearn, thank you so much.
Thank you
for joining the pod.
Unique surroundings.
It is.
Soccer, Champneys.
It's brilliant. It's your neck.
You've taken over, a facial room, is it? Or a massage room somewhere. Yeah.
It looks dodgy is what it is. I can tell you. Exactly. It is all above board. Eddie, it's great to have you on the pod. You and boxing, well, you fit like a glove, pardon the pun. You are boxing in a lot of ways. It's been a crazy few months for you. How do you sum it all up?
Yeah, I mean, you know, we made a decision a while ago. I've been around boxing since I was 8 years old. And I never thought, like growing up, my dad was a Hall of Fame promoter, but I was never like, I want to be a promoter. I wanted to be a fighter or a sportsman. Every young kid does. So, you know, even when I got to my sort of 20s, I was working in the sports marketing world. I never really thought I want to be a boxing promoter. Kind of fell upon it, but it's in a great place. And once we, you know, took a strong position in the UK market, me and my dad have always been super competitive. It's how I was brought up. So he's very famous.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a star or a success, and the only way I could do that is outperform him. So he never cracked America. I wanted to go and crack America. Then after America, it was the Middle East. You know, now it's Asia. So obviously, with the influx of finance from Saudi, particularly, boxing's flying. It's in the best place it's ever been in, and it's a very, very sexy sport, if you like. You know, like broadcasters, fans, arenas, governments, tourism, they want boxing because it creates a huge amount of noise. And everybody likes to follow it, you know. So it's in a great place.
John, you need to get the boxing gloves on.
You can make
not,
John? We talked about this. We talked about this yesterday.
Yeah. I don't mind. It's something, obviously, there's no better person to get a contract signed. So I will lace up my gloves. Let's put it that way.
You know what it is though? A lot of footballers, it's like your own unique sport in terms of fitness is very specific to yourself. So some summer breaks, we get a lot of footballers who go, I want to train boxing in the summer, and they are like, they literally turn up on the first day and like,
and they love
I'm done. Yeah, but I'm done. Like, and they're so fit, but it's just a different kind. As he's playing football, if you're a great long distance runner, and all of a sudden you turn up to a fast session, you're going to be in bits. So it's a tough game.
It's a tough game, but we're seeing so many now turning their hands to it. I look at the two Paul brothers, and I know you've had millions of questions about them, Eddie. They are good for the sport. This YouTuber, influencer, kind of now paw prints all over the sport. It's good for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a purist, so I don't mind it as long as we can actually educate them once they show an interest. I don't want people just to think that's boxing, because for me, boxing is the purest sport in the world.
Yeah.
You've only got to see it and enjoy it to fall in love with it. So people like Jake Paul, KSI, Logan, are very smart people.
They're smart guys.
Yeah. And you get a lot of fighters who say, it's not fair. That I've been training for 15 years and they've just walked into the sport and made millions. Well, they've built that fan base.
Yeah.
They know how to resonate with their audience. They know how to get their audience to
engage,
to subscribe, to buy.
Exactly. Yeah.
So therefore, and they are training. Like Jake Paul, he trains 3 or 4 months at a time into training camp. He is fighting, he's being very clever with the opposition.
Yeah.
But as long as those people come into the sport, because Jake's actually, I do think he's fallen in love with boxing. It's very easy to do. So hopefully he can sort of tell them and educate them about the sport, and then we can see them following normal boxing as well.
Not about his next fight though with
Mike Tyson.
With Mike.
No,
How do you see that one?
I mean, I think they've just cancelled obviously the first one, delayed it.
Okay.
Which is not a good sign. I mean, he came off an airplane in a wheelchair.
No way.
He had a problem. Yeah, he had
Michael.
he had a problem with his ulcer, some old flared ulcer, and it's like, guys, if you didn't think this fight was okay then, look at these pictures. The guy's 58. Do you know what I mean? And the thing is with Mike Tyson is actually, he was a shot fighter 20 years ago. So what are you expecting? 20 years on, that he's going to just have a little, he's going to have a rest and he's like the old Mike Tyson. I mean, he's not. He's an old man.
Yeah.
I'm sure he can still punch, but you don't want to see that in my opinion, And it's like, that's when I feel like you're kind of taking advantage of the sport a little bit by using his name. I mean, this is a legend of the sport.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's like, it's like a YouTuber taking on, I don't know, I know he's past Maradona, but like just someone that's not physically capable anymore of competing. And it's almost like, it's like, you're sort of getting paid to parade yourself around as your, a minor version of your old self. And I don't like that for Mike Tyson.
It's a bit like
one of my heroes.
It's like Frankenstein.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. Now, I'm looking at it thinking, is he actually doing it because he loves the sports or because he's seen how the sports is going, or he's just doing it now purely
for the money? Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? I always, when you sit down and you talk about a fighter ending their career, like say, I don't know, Canelo Alvarez, right? He's making $30 or $40 million a fight. He's achieved everything in the sport, but physically he's still like, it's not in his prime, but he's still performing, still can beat everyone. At what point, even when you've got 500 million, just another 40. Do you know what I mean? It's like, well, I'm all right. I'm enjoying it still. Like, leave me alone. Let me get another one. You know what I mean?
Let me give Eddie a call. I need another 40. Yeah.
But it's like with Tyson, he's made a huge amount of money, lost a huge amount of money. And I think financially he's actually recovered himself quite well with a lot of stuff that he's doing. Yeah. But again, same thing. I mean, he's probably making 10 million. All right. So it's like, 10 million.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there is an element of that'd be fun. I mean, it's a bit like, like I say, he's been at the top level, but to experience that of going back to camp, sometimes it can help you just have a focus in your life again. Maybe you're a little bit, I think that any sportsman that leaves the sport who performed at a high level, once you leave, that void, of saying like,
definitely.
Wow, you walk out on the pitch, that buzz, especially if you're fighting. You imagine you're going in training camp and you're going in front of millions of people to fight someone. Imagine that buzz. And when you leave that, you see guys like Ricky Hatton, people like that. It's just that void missing, that buzz. Sometimes they find another job, thankfully. Sometimes they stay in boxing. Sometimes they go down a bad path and find alcohol and drugs because they're looking for something to replace it.
BetWinner is your reliable partner in the world of sport betting.
BetWinner.
We've spoken before, Eddie, about the fact that boxing's unique in that everyone becomes an expert. I don't know how you do it, Eddie. I look on social media. Everyone has got an opinion. Everyone thinks that they bloody know the sport better than the people in it. Let's be frank here. Jake Paul wins that fight.
Yeah, I think so.
Easy.
He can get chinned. Like, I'm sure. Yeah. And that's the fascination of people going, well, what if? What if he lands one? But it could go in there and it could be horrible to watch, you know? And it's like, I want to remember Mike Tyson being the fiend that he was, like taking people's heads off, becoming the youngest world heavyweight champion ever, and probably one of the most iconic figures of the sport. I don't want to see him getting beaten up by a YouTuber who shouldn't be in the ring with him in the first place.
Exactly,
so I get it. Like at the same time, look, we're in a money world. Boxing's prize fighting. So actually, you know, when we get a little bit of criticism about if you're going to Saudi or whatever, at the end of the day, we've got to look after these fighters financially. They're putting their health on the line.
For us.
For our entertainment. So don't tell me we shouldn't go there because it's not right. You know, boxing should stay in the UK and England, like in the US. And the same, you know, with Mike Tyson, he's a prize fighter. So, and prize fighters always have that mentality of how much? You know what I mean? So it's like, you want me to fight him? How much?
Yeah.
You know, even like Bellew, you know, Tony Bellew, who's he's retired, but there's still an element of, sure, money's there in that fight. Do you know what I mean? So it's like, you can fight him. Yeah. How much? You know, like that's because that's how they earn their money. They're prize fighters. And that's like, it's barbaric in a way.
It is.
Because you're deciding whether you're going to fight another man. Yeah. You pay me the right amount of money, I'll fight him. You know, that's why I'm saying, but boxing never makes sense. You know, it's two people going in and having a fight in front of the world. Like, It doesn't make sense, but it's actually a sport built out of, you know, really important characteristics and fundamentals of life, which is discipline, respect, manners. You know, you go into any young boxing gym, any club in the community, it's full of kids that if they weren't in that club, they'd be out on the street selling drugs, in gangs, whatever. And those kids that are educated through boxing, they build solid foundations for life. You know, actually any sport. But particularly boxing. I think sport's the greatest educator. You know, more than being in a classroom.
We were talking, obviously, John, after 11 years at Chelsea, you went out on a high, John. You weren't over the hill. You went out on your own accord. Yeah. A Deontay Wilder, I look at him, Eddie, and that spark's gone out. He looks to me as if he's done. Yeah,
but that's the time. When the spark goes...
Yeah. Could you feel that, though?
Yeah, but it's sad, really, because what I felt being around Deontay last week was he still wants it, so he's trying to almost convince himself.
That's what happens.
That he's still that guy.
As well, the same.
But in boxing, it's like you have to have that killer mindset. And that mindset generally comes from an upbringing of, you know, humble beginnings and a lack of opportunities where you're actually trying to fight your way out of that world to provide for your family. Deontay Wilder's got 7 kids, and his motivation was to knock, excuse my language, motherfuckers out to earn money and put food on the table. Yeah. Once the food was on the table, once the houses were bought, once the kids were in private school and life was good, I used that still same animal. You know what I mean? But most athletes will spend the final years of their career not stealing a living, but like as in knowing deep down, not actually lost a bit of pace tonight, or like, you know, it might be like in touch ain't quite what it was, but we'll be all right. You know, another year, agent, another year on the contract. Yeah, go on, 1 year extension, lovely, and then you just get to the point. But that's where you got to kind of be honest with yourself, and that's what Deontay will have to do: sit down with his family and say, boxing's a little bit different. In football, you can still duck and dive, sort of, but in boxing, if you're shot, you're getting hurt. You're getting rendered unconscious.
Exactly.
Like, that's what we saw with him, you know, and then it becomes sad to watch. And that's when you need the right people around you to say, hey, come on, it's been a great run. Yeah. Because there's a lot of dogs in boxing who will say, hey, so-and-so's been on, you got another 5 million for this. And they're taking 15%, so they don't care. Yeah. You know, but that's when you got to look at yourself in the mirror and say,
I think that's what happened with AJ, because, you know, I know he's your main guy. Yeah. because obviously he started really well, didn't he?
Yeah.
Sort of then faded away.
Yeah, but he's come back.
Do you think now he's come back again?
Yeah, I just feel like he got a little bit lost. Like with AJ, he's a very smart man, and you can't bluff him into thinking that he's like he needs to believe in himself, and he needs to have the tactics right, the coaching right, everything. Like when he fought Usyk, his head was all over the place. Like he didn't have he had 3 trainers in the corner. He didn't have a clear strategy of how to beat him, and he got a little bit lost. And I think as well, like people with AJ have to understand, he's just a kid from like an estate in Watford.
Exactly.
All of a sudden, you win Olympic gold, you become world heavyweight champion.
Start making
you can't
a lot of
walk
money,
out your door without people taking photos and stuff. And life can sometimes become a little bit unenjoyable. And I think he went through a little bit of that. Like, I won Olympic gold, I won the world heavyweight championship. I was like a bit of a hero, and I lost to Ruiz, a little bit of and I was like, nothing. It's like, well, he's overrated anyway. Like, who's AJ? He's a blah, blah. And also the media start going against you and stuff like that. And he's such a lovely man. I think he just thought, fuck, like, what? I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah. And then he found himself again. And he found a new trainer, and he started believing himself. Then he knocked out Wiley, knocked out Ngannou. He's had those 4 wins in 11 months. He's probably more dangerous now than he's ever been. But he's one of those guys where you can't just pat him on the back and go, come on, you're an animal. Go and beat this guy. It's like, well, how? Like, I need to know that I'm drilled, I'm
the
ready.
strategy and everything is in place,
But like he works. You talk about consistency at the highest level. That's how you're going to get longevity out of any career, is consistency. True. Consistently doing the right things.
And he does.
He's constantly looking to improve, like in every aspect.
BetWinner is your reliable partner in the world of sport betting.
BetWinner.
I've done a couple of things with AJ over in Dubai, and I know he gets this question a lot. Who is the real AJ? You know him better than anyone, Eddie. I have seen a difference in AJ, and I don't know if it's apathy towards the media because they were so quick to maybe turn their back, or at least some elements were quick to turn their back on him after the defeats to Usyk, or if it's a bit like, pardon my French here, fuck it.
Yeah, it is a bit like that.
Is it?
It's like he was chasing greatness, he was chasing legacy. Now it's just more about himself. Like, he wanted to give the fans great fights. He wanted to, and now it's more like, I'm doing this for myself.
Good. He's relaxed. Like, a bit more relaxed.
Yeah, and I think when you get to that point in your life, I think you're more comfortable in yourself. You're not like searching for stuff. You're like, I know where I am. I know who I am, and this is what I do. But everything, all the pressure that he puts on himself is based around performance. Like, he works so hard to perform. That's why after the Usyk second fight, he had that little bit of a breakdown where it was like, I've put everything into this, and I failed. And I'm like, and he's so frustrated that he wasn't good enough to win, and he wasn't proud enough of his performance. It wasn't like, I'm sulking because I haven't got the belts. It was like, I didn't do it, and I really believed I could do it. So, but people like that, saying like, I've never seen him break down in tears. I was like next to me at a presser, but I think that's good sometimes to show that side, and he's a great man. But there's definitely an element of him now that just says like, right, this is for me.
And let's be honest, a lot of people will be watching this pod, and I know it's the question, again, you've had a million times. I'm very relaxed about it. AJ Fury, I don't care what they do, who wins what, that fight is going to happen.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, especially with Turki Alalshikh and Saudi Arabia, like the roadmap is that they meet next year. It's still a massive fight.
No doubt.
That they need to fight those two. And Fury's an awkward customer, but he's showing chinks in the armour.
How good is he, though, Usyk?
Usyk's very good. I mean, you talk about Olympic champion. He in the cruiserweight division, he went to every champion's backyard in their country to win their belts.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? He boxed Bellew, he knocked out Bellew, moved up to heavyweight, beat Chisora, but then beat AJ twice. Now beat Fury. Like, I mean, that's really all there is to do. And AJ wasn't at his best when he boxed him, and I do believe he can beat him. But I do, but he's just so good. Like, and don't forget, he's getting on. Sooner or later.
Yeah. What is he now, 35, 36?
That Fury fight took a lot out of both men.
Yeah.
When Usyk went back to change room, he was being held up. He was exhausted. Like, those kind of fights, they take miles off the clock.
Miles, yeah.
Yeah. And it'll be interesting to see what happens in the rematch.
It's interesting because I was talking to Bellew in the changing room. I was like, how good was he? It's like, Mikel, things that people don't understand is he puts you in an awkward position all throughout the fight.
Yes.
He never lets you settle. He's always putting his
Feet,
left
yeah,
feet in front of you, and he goes and he comes back. He goes and he comes.
yeah.
So for a fighter, it's difficult to judge that.
Yeah.
And he was like, I couldn't find a way to get into it.
Exhausts you.
Exactly.
Like, and Tony was winning the fight like after 6-7 rounds.
Exactly what he said.
And then all of a sudden you just saw it, like one round before, I was like, oh my God, he looks really tired here. And then, you know, his hands dropped and then Usyk just come around and knocked him out, you know, and like he just makes you think all the time. And also pre-fight, very difficult to get in his head.
Yeah.
One, because he's actually quite a nice bloke, he's quite funny. And two, like he's just away with the fairies. And I think Fury struggled to do that. Fury was trying.
He was.
And he was like, and in the end he just gave up. Because like, you know, he just, it's a guy like, he holds his breath underwater for something like 3 or 4 minutes, Usyk.
Really?
Yeah. And it's, you know, even AJ started looking at it going, I need to start trying to do that. You know, it's like performing. But, you know, anyone that does that, you've got to be looking at him going, this guy's a little bit strange. Like, he's not human.
Yeah, it's not human.
So, but he's very, and what he does well is he goes through the gears in fights. So, like against Fury, after 6-7 rounds, I'm thinking, wow, Fury looks like, and then he's just,
he comes back,
9 rounds against AJ in the second fight. I thought, we've got him. And he does 10, 11, 12, comes out like, I've never seen anything like it. So he's amazing.
What are you hearing, Eddie, with regards to Tyson? You know, he's now got a defeat on his resume.
Yeah.
You've talked about taking miles off the clock physically. When you're protecting an unbeaten record, and since Floyd came along, somebody's always got to go. People, I think, have been protecting that little bit more. Knowing Tyson as you do, will that affect him?
I think he'll be putting on a brave face, but he always says he's not bothered about the legacies. I don't agree with that. You know, he's a bit of a boxing historian. He'll know the importance of being undisputed. His first loss. Some people take losses in different kind of ways.
Prince Nassim Hamid.
Yeah, I mean, you really want it to motivate you to come back stronger. You know, it can really make you or break you a defeat. You know, but he might just be not quite the same fighter, or may just not good enough to beat Usyk, and that's no disgrace. But I do expect him to bounce back and come back stronger. I think the rematch will be, I mean, it's a great fight. You know, I think the rematch will be a great fight. Just very difficult to pick against Usyk at this point.
Usyk to win again.
Yeah. I mean, I'll have to ask, Eddie. I mean, you're doing all these massive fights, massive contracts. How do you deal with the agents and obviously sometimes with the fighters? Because we've seen a few things, you know, social media. Oh, Eddie doesn't. You know, he says one thing, he does that. You know, just things like that. But how true is? I mean, it must be so difficult dealing with the fighters, because this person wants this amount of purse, the other person wants amount of purse. It must be like 50, 60.
Like the Wild West, right? I mean, football is a close second with agents and like, you know, that kind of world. But in boxing, there's no barriers to entry. So anybody can become a manager, an advisor, an agent, right? So tomorrow, you could go, I quite like the idea of managing some fighters. Yeah. Next thing, you're in my office telling me this bloke's worth 10 million, right? And I'm going, he's not. I mean, like, there's a very straight formula in the boxing business. It's called a P&L. And I can tell you to the 5% what a fighter is worth.
It's worth
based on the income and the expenditure of a show. It's not rocket science. It's just, it's factual. So if my mathematical sheet tells me that fighter's worth $1 million.
Yeah.
And this bloke who, you know, is not you, but might have just owned a car dealership down the road, is telling me this fighter should be getting $5 million. Yeah. And I go, but how?
How?
I don't care how. That's the number. Yeah. It's like, well, fuck. But the thing is, in boxing, someone else comes along, a big investor, someone might give him the 5, you know? But you, as a business, the only way you can get that, you know, we talk about that consistency and longevity is to run your business properly. So you have to be prepared to lose fighters. You have to be, but for me, I don't like the managers and advisors. I like the relationship with the fighter. That's where I'm more motivated. Like people like Tony, it's one of my best mates, because he gave me all the responsibility of his career and said, I trust you, do me right, unless, you know, and even to the point where, you know, when he fought David Haye, I would say to him, Tony, I need you to come in and I want to go through this contract with you. And he just said, just get me the most amount of money you can and sign it.
Wow.
Like that. And for me, to give you that kind of responsibility,
it's brilliant.
You know, the loyalty that makes you do your job even better. If you're dealing with an agent and you don't even, like, I have a lot of fighters that I don't really talk to because the agent or manager doesn't want you to have that relationship. You know, I deal with that.
Really?
You know, the last thing they want is the fighter to say, no, I'll speak to Eddie.
Eddie,
You know, I'll call
yeah,
Eddie. No, you don't call Eddie. That's my job. Do you know what I mean? So it's really frustrating. But also I understand, you know, that there isn't a lot of loyalty in boxing because it is a sport as well. It's a very short career.
Yeah.
So like if you can make money elsewhere, but I would, and I have said to fighters many times, you know, if they go to me, look, if they're honest enough to say, I know the money's not there, but I've been offered this over here.
Somewhere
I might
else,
say,
yeah,
take it.
yeah,
You know, if
take
it's
it,
secure and you're at the end of your career, I want you to make as much money as possible. But a lot of the time, those decisions won't go well, you know, but everything's about timing and, you know.
You talk about your relationship with fighters. Turki Alalshikh, His Excellency, Turki Alalshikh's come on the scene. Given the fact that John played football at the highest level, I'm going to ask you this question, Eddie. Who does Turki remind you of in the football world? Is he a José? Is he a Pep? Is a visionary?
Probably like a mixture of José and probably Roman Abramovich.
Roman Abramovich.
You know,
I
where
was
it's
gonna
like
say that.
you've got the purse
Yeah,
strings,
yeah.
but he's got the strategy as well.
Yeah.
You know, like he understands the boxing business very, very well. And a lot of people look at it as a madness, but there is a method to it with him. And so he's got the bankroll, but actually he's got the strategy of someone that knows, he has a vision for the sport, you know, and yeah, so Roman and Jose, you know, sort of mixed into one. It's a bit of a deadly duo, really. It's a powerhouse. So, but yeah, he's a smart, very smart man, and actually one of the funniest people I've ever met.
Really?
Like a lot of people, because we say, you know, he's excellent, and you get a lot of fans going, "Oh, he's excellent," but it's like if you knew the guy, like we take the mickey out of each other a lot.
Really?
Like
Wow,
he's,
that's amazing.
you know, but he loves boxing, and he's making fights happen that without him we wouldn't see. So we're lucky.
Vegas done and dusted. Is Vegas?
No, I
in the
don't
rear
think
view?
so. I mean, you know, I hate the whole thing of, you know, it's taking boxing away from London and Vegas. So what? It's a world out there. Do you know what I mean? Like, what do you think? We should only do boxing in London and Vegas? If there's an opportunity to grow the sport in a new territory, in a new market, we should do it. And the opportunities for the fighters are incredible. And we like going there. You know, I mean, people, you're in Dubai a lot. I know it's a different kind of vibe, but when I go to Riyadh, I love it. You know, I mean, the restaurants are out of this world, the weather, the hospitality, there's zero crime, same in Dubai. And that's a massive thing for people, especially living in London, you know, because that's one of our biggest problems.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, that's a really nice environment to be in, especially if you've got family and kids, you know, that you can feel comfortable to let them go out. A lot of my friends live in Dubai and they're saying the kids like, you know, they're in Ubers at 12:30 down to the cinema and
super safe.
Get in when you get in, you know.
Yeah.
And that's nice.
BetWinner is your reliable partner in the world of sport betting.
BetWinner.
And the football as well out there is growing as well.
Yeah.
Not just
But he's,
boxing.
I mean, being spent quite a bit of time with Ronaldo, and it's
I was going to ask you that.
but he, one thing that fascinated me was, this is like him as an individual. I've met him a couple of times at boxing, don't know him, but when I watched the cup match the other night, right, and I watched it with His Excellency, right, and they were all going mad, right, but how much Ronaldo actually wanted to win. Like, he wasn't acting. Like, when they lost the penalty shootout, you know, he was devastated. I know, right? Which is amazing.
Yeah.
Like, let's be honest, the standard of that league, like, he must at some point be like pulling his hair out, you know? But to have that kind of passion to win, quite amazing.
At the age of 39.
Yeah, and you would think that a lot of people in that position, I'm sure they would be out there going, I've played at such a better level than this, but I'm getting a fortune. But he genuinely, like, it's a very infectious sort of injection that he brings to it, where if he just turned up and didn't have that passion to win, you kind of, not stealing a living because he deserves it, but it's amazing that will to win that he has.
No,
like, and that's what's kept him at the top
exactly.
of it,
No, we've played with him, played against him. We know how much he always wants to win, and it's so good to see that at the age of 39. And then you just said playing in the Saudi league, no disrespect to the Saudi league, but for him to want to win that cup final, just to have that trophy. I don't think he's won a trophy since he moved out there.
Yeah.
You know, he's paid really good money. He wants to just be like, you know what? Fuck it, I don't care about that. But he still wants to win. Yeah. And that's the respect that I have for him. You know, that's we players have for him. You know, people keep asking us between him and Messi, you know what I mean? The respect we have for Ronaldo is how much dedication and how much he still wants to win, even now at the age of 39. I always will have a massive respect for him.
No doubt.
Do you think he trains on another level to like Messi?
Yeah.
And like,
Yeah. But the crazy thing, though, the funny thing is that people don't see what Messi does indoors. He actually trained, maybe not as hard as Ronaldo, but from what I've heard, he's behind the scene, he does a lot of hard work. Yeah, both of them. I mean, but Ronaldo, what a machine.
Who's better?
He's done it, Eddie. You've done it. Don't
I've
get
done
the
it,
show.
Eddie.
Come
I'm
on,
going to answer it, and I'm going to ask you two who's better.
Yeah.
No, I'll definitely, for me, I've said that time and time, I think, no disrespect to Ronaldo, but as a complete footballer, I've always said Messi, as a complete footballer, we've played against both. I played against both. I know how they play. Messi for me is better, but not far away. Ronaldo has achieved so much, no disrespect. He's a fantastic footballer, but he's just behind Messi for me.
Your answer, Eddie?
I mean, I don't study football, no, like John, but I guess from the outset, from the casual fan, it's more like the pure footballer is Messi, but the machine is Ronaldo. Like the athlete, I mean, as an athlete, jumping higher, running faster, all this kind of stuff, but pure skill on the ball.
Exactly.
Have you ever been approached, and I'm conscious of time, Eddie, have you ever been approached about buying a football club? Has that ever?
No, we had Leighton Orient many years ago.
Your dad,
but it's like, I reckon owning a football club is the worst thing you could ever do. Like for your finance, for your business, for your blood pressure. Yeah, because if you love, like my dad was a Leighton Orient fan, right? So he bought Leighton Orient, in 2000.
Really?
Or 1995. Yeah.
Ooh.
And we were in Division 2. We got promoted to Division 1. We lost in the Championship playoff.
That's right.
To go into the Championship. But it was like, no matter how much you put in, the fans are never happy. And he loved that club more than anything. Like, if we lost, he would be in a really bad mood. Like, and there comes a time when you start losing games and he's looking down. And my dad's not one to kind of mess around. Someone shouts something at him, he'll say, "Come on," and he'll want to round. No, but that's what they were doing. Put more money in Hearn. He's going, "Come on then, come on, say it up here." I'm like going, "Oh, we've got to get out of here," But like he would always say, we had a rule. He would lose £1 million a year. And this is like 15 years ago, right? But he would say, "Done well in my business, and I'm prepared as a hobby because I love the club. I'll lose £1 million a year." But our wage bill is £1.7 million a year total and not a penny more, right? Don't come to me, ask me for more. And every time we'd have an AGM, fans would go, "Barry, you've got money. Why don't you?" He goes, "No, fuck off." Yeah, I said what I say. I've worked my whole life, to get out of where I come from to make this money. I'm not blowing it all on this club. But I'll lose £1 million a year for fun, for you guys.
That's it.
"Well, you're a joke. You should put more." And it's like, you get to a point, like it was an amazing time. Like we had, a good FA Cup run.
You did.
We drew with Arsenal in the last 16 of the FA Cup. We got the rematch at Emirates. Tete, our centre forward, scored an equaliser at Brisbane Road, like with Arsenal, with like 5 minutes to go, and it was like, this was the most amazing. And we went down the Emirates in a rematch, and I think we lost like 6-0 or whatever it was, but we stole all the cutlery. We were just in there like nicking things and like that. But it was just it was a good time at the club, but very frustrating to own a football club. You can't win. Financially, you can't win.
Yeah.
Like unless you've got like
a Roman,
whatever. But and
so no plans to.
No.
You're done with football.
Done.
Boxing and
other
we'll
than
finish
soccer
up.
age. Yeah.
With boxing, then the next 5 years is Saudi.
Yeah,
the crown
for sure,
jewel.
for sure. Yeah, I mean, whilst they have the appetite for it, no one's going to put the kind of money into boxing that the Saudis are doing. But it's just how long. I mean, again, His Excellency, he has a passion for the sport. He's not thinking, "Oh, next year we'll do something else." He's looking at a long-term plan. So, the fighters are benefiting, the sport's benefiting, and it helps the ecosystem of boxing because if you're seeing big fights, more people are going to be watching boxing, more people are going to be interested, more people are going to be buying tickets for shows in the UK, tuning in, buying the pay-per-view, and it just helps the world go around.
Well,
Amazing.
listen, if you want a fight in Abuja,
No, we have to put Eddie on the spot. I know the rematch of Usyk Fury.
Fury.
We're both massive boxing fans.
Yeah.
Are we going to get a little bit of invites?
Yeah, oh yeah. Well, I mean, we'll have to, maybe they'll have you playing in the Saudi league. You know what I mean? And then you'll be straight in. You got the new contract coming.
Top man, Eddie Hearn on the Obi One Podcast.
Thanks, Eddie.
Thank
Cheers,
you so
boys.
much,
Thank
Eddie.
you.
Top stuff. Yes.
Cheers, boys.
Right, you boys are going to
Bet Winner is your reliable partner in the world of sports betting.
But we said it before, John. Eddie Hearn is a blooming good man at leading a business organisation. He's brilliant in boxing, and I'll tell you this, I think he would make a fantastic football club owner.
You think so?
I think so. Just like he has just got that persona, and I tell you what as well, if anyone who hasn't met him,
Yeah.
he's massive.
Oh, he's massive. He is massive. Anyone who hasn't met him, he is absolutely. Me and you, we think we're tall.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
he is huge.
He's
and he's
got-
also wide as well.
Yeah,
But
he's got-
not
No,
he's, you know,
we're not calling him fat,
We're not
Eddie.
calling him
He's just a big hit, like he's a big set. He's got a real
He's a
presence.
unit. He's a massive unit, isn't it? Let's put it that way. He can get into a boxing ring with one of those guys, and he can hold this. Obviously, not the punching, but yeah, but he can look.
He can look the
a
part.
size. Yeah, exactly. But no, he will definitely make a good owner. I think he's the kind of guy. If he owns a football club, a player will love to play under him. Yeah, because some of his banters are absolutely.
Charisma. And I tell you, it's interesting listening to him there, John. He talks about the fact that he's adamant that AJ and Tyson will one day
Fight. Yeah.
Do you think it will happen?
I think he will. Obviously, depend on how AJ comes back. Yeah, let's put it that way. If he comes back stronger, and obviously Tyson is still there. Listen, it's the one fight that the British people, not just the British people, everybody wants to watch that fight. It doesn't matter how badly AJ is doing or how badly Tyson is. We still want to watch that fight. We want to see that fight happen because I think it's going to be a fucking amazing fight. It's going to be fireworks on that fight. So if this man here can make that fight happen just before Tyson Fury or AJ calls it a day, then that would be fucking amazing.
If anyone can,
It's
Eddie
him.
Hearn.
It's him, for sure.
It is absolutely
Yeah.
Eddie Hearn. We thank him an awful lot for his time. The Matchroom CEO and a man that I'm sure you're going to be seeing an awful lot more on our television screens with AJ not done yet and that big one building up to it. Alexander Usyk against Tyson Fury. Right, that is it. Do tell your friends about us. I say this every single episode. You can subscribe to us, follow the podcast. We're on YouTube. We're across social media as well. It is the Obi One Podcast made possible by Bet Winner. A big shout out to them again. And we're back. Who have we got up next, John? We're going from the boxing world to the commentary box. We've got the voice of football.
The voice of football.
Is our
the
next
voice
guest.
of football. That's what it's called. The legendary voice of football.
Martin Taylor. He's on the way next. Right, stay with us. It is the Obi One Podcast made possible.
Bet Winner is your reliable partner in the world of sport betting.
Bet Winner